Yo, what's up, everyone? Blue Guys are back for another episode. It's been a while, but we're gonna kick things off again with a bang. We're gonna start the discussion by talking about LeBron, King James, old Bron. Back in the news lately, maybe for the wrong reasons, but we really want to break down all the things that have gone on with LeBron and the Lakers. We'll start off with obviously the whole AD trade, the whole fiasco, it being made public that LeBron was ready to trade, his entire roster, all the young guys, 4 draft picks for AD, that going out public. The fact that the Lakers have struggled lately, they're 10th in the West right now, odds to make the playoffs don't look that great. But besides that, his usual social media shenanigans have been kind of the story lately. Besides, in the past, calling himself the GOAT. Or, in the media during press conferences lately, calling out his teammates after blowout losses to Anthony Davis-less Pelicans or Memphis Grizzlies teams that should have no business beating the Lakers. It seems like, this is kind of the classic point of the season where LeBron is full social media Bron mode. And I want to get your opinion on this before we move on to kind of the bigger discussion that we had in mind about, do you think it's fair for LeBron right now to be criticizing his teammates, especially out in the public? And do you think his teammates, I guess, are responding appropriately in terms of, people are questioning whether they should ignore the noise and be able to play through it? I just want to know your opinions on that.
I've been pretty vocal about this. I think LeBron has every right to criticize if he were to be putting in 100% effort, and I think we can all agree that when you watch a Lakers game in the last month or so, you can see that LeBron is not putting in that full 100% effort. So I think he has the pedigree, he has the experience, he's been to the finals many times. So yes, if he was putting in a full effort, go ahead, go criticize your teammates, go criticize the young guys, get them going, fire them up. But if you're not talking what you're asking them to do, then you can't really say much.
Yeah, 100%, man. And for me, I guess the first time you called them out, I was like, okay, whatever. It was a little bit passive aggressive, classic LeBron this time of year. But then he did it the very next game. He's just talking about these young guys. But Kuzma and Ingram haven't been playing bad. They've still been, Kuzma had 22, I think Ingram had 21, and they've been in the low 20s. And then Lonzo's out. Josh Hart has been kind of in and out. He's missed a few past games. And then the rest of the team's a lot older. So, who the hell are these young guys that aren't carrying their weight? That's what I'm wondering. You see, we all saw the Memphis tape where he was 15 feet back from the three-pointer and he wasn't closing out and he wasn't doing all these different things, but he's the first person to point the finger. So it's hard for anybody to defend LeBron right now, based on the way he's playing, the way he's coming back. He looks lethargic, he looks tired, and he looks like he said he was activated, he dropped 24, they got the win, and then he deactivated the next game. So I'm not really sure what's going on, but I really hope they find a way to get over that.
Yeah, I think quickly, you guys addressed the teammate stuff pretty well. I think what I've been thinking about it as I've tried to evaluate what's going on, and I mentioned this to you guys before, I think a lot of what he's doing is kind of protecting his legacy. I think that, we always say, he's one of the most scrutinized players maybe of all time, and I think that he feels that there's a lot of attack for maybe no reason at some points, and there's a lot of people who question everything he does, good or bad. So I think sometimes when things are going bad, he's quick to try to defend himself because he knows people are going to be fast to jump on things that don't go as well for LeBron. Mm-hmm. So I think that overall, sometimes you have to take a step back and be like, okay, yes, he's doing all these things, and yes, they look bad and whatnot, but what is maybe the overarching sort of idea, and what is he actually doing? I think it's just him protecting himself and trying to be in this position to sort of stay ahead of the people or know that people are going to continue to be attacking him. I'm not necessarily saying that's right or wrong, but I think that we've seen over and over time and time again that people are quick to jump on him, and he's at this point in his career in the last, call it 4 years or so, that people are going to be wondering, what is his story? What is he going to do? And he doesn't want this to be the downfall of his career. He doesn't want the narrative for the next 4 years to be LeBron came to the Lakers and he was garbage and they sucked and everyone thought they were going to be great. So I think, especially in this year with the team not going so well, he's more worried about, okay, let me make sure, my camp's in order. People can still respect me. I'm going to try to, be a bit more outspoken and vocal and maybe say things that are a bit more out there, because there's a lot of people on the other side who are quick to be like, you know, you're not this, you're not that, and sort of discredit things that he's done that people can't really discredit because, I mean, the numbers are there, right?
Okay.
So that's where I stand.
Yeah. No, I think we can all agree, and we've talked about this issue in the past where LeBron gets over-criticized, or not even over-criticized. People are quick to jump on him whenever something goes wrong about LeBron. I think we can all agree on that. But I think it's maybe one of the first times that I can remember in LeBron's career where usually he can silence all the noise with his play on the court, but like Matt mentioned and like Nate mentioned, LeBron himself doesn't look like he's giving 100%. He doesn't look 100% right. And like Nate mentioned, his teammates, it's not like they're not really picking up the load. Yes, they're not, you know, the best roster in the league by any means, but the young guys, they're developing, they're giving, you know, they're improving, and LeBron has done more with lesser rosters for sure.
Exactly.
So that leads to my question about, with all that being said, do you guys still consider LeBron James as the greatest player in the game right now?
I think it's honestly a toss-up to me. I know a lot of people will still say LeBron no matter what, but I think no matter if KD is on the Warriors or not, I think he deserves at least some talk in that conversation. A lot of people say Giannis. I don't think he's there yet, especially no jump shot. Well, no, he hasn't been range, but he doesn't have a three-point shot, so I think give him a couple of years and maybe he can be in that conversation. But I think KD, even now, I think a lot of people discredit KD. Scotty was saying this yesterday, that because he's on the Warriors with Steph and Clay, he's going to get a lot more open shots, and I completely agree with that. But he's also still putting up 28, like 7 and 7 with those guys who are also putting up 20 plus at the same time. So I think, and he's also shooting I think he's shooting 51% this year, which is ridiculous considering the amount of the long distance shots he shoots. So I think KD, who's also become a great defensive player, I think, I wouldn't say he is the best player, but I think it's almost a 50-50 between LeBron and KD right now.
I think it is too early for me to dethrone LeBron and say KD's the best. I think KD's the next one up, and then Giannis has really made his case this season, but you can't seriously sit here and be like, who's playing the best right now? Probably Giannis or even Paul George. That's a different discussion. But who's the best player in the NBA? It's still LeBron James. And I think the time span of him coming back from his injury is too short to be like it's too small of a sample size to be like, he's not the best player in the world. Even though there's a huge camp out there that is ready, like we were saying, to dethrone him. They're like waiting for that second to just be like, he's not the best, he's not the best. And it's sort of shifting. And this is kind of adding ammunition, but I don't think this is something that LeBron can get over. I don't think this is something that he won't be able to silence through his play. I think he'll figure it out. He's shown us time and time again that whenever the media gets like kind of finicky and that and gets on him, he just bursts through it. So maybe it'll be different. This is different though, because coming off his first major injury, maybe he didn't prepare as well during his injury. Maybe he looks at fatigued. He's like 285 now. So like, there's a lot of different things than most times LeBron silenced the media. He's older. He's 34 now. So it's a lot different. But I guess I still think he's too old he's too fresh off the injury. There's too many variables going on to be like, yeah, he's not the best anymore.
Yeah, I think hands down he's still the best. I think Matt makes a good point for KD. I think he's right there on the cusp of, getting the throne, so to speak. And I'd say Giannis is probably number 3. But I think, much to your guys' points, LeBron is kind of just still, he hasn't done enough, like you said, to show that he's not that guy anymore. I think that it's easy to nitpick and sample size and do whatever, but we haven't really gotten like a whole, if he does this for 2 years, then okay, we can change the narrative on the discussion. But I think that, couple months, if you will, or whatever, doesn't really, it's not enough for me, because like you said, Scotty and you both mentioned, we've seen these stretches before of, shakiness or whatever you want to call it. So I think he's still the best player in the NBA.
I think if you have this conversation a year from now and KD switched teams to maybe not being with 2 or 3 other superstars, and he's still probably doing even more. Yeah, a team like the Knicks where he's carrying them to the playoffs, I think.
With Kyrie.
Yeah, well, even if he's not with Kyrie, with anybody, I think.
And that's another guy that's been just a headache, man.
I think this conversation a year from now is a lot more interesting.
Yeah, 100%.
My question quickly to you, Matt, though, is that if he goes to a different system or situation, whatever you want to call it, like, I would, in theory, see his numbers going down, just based on like usage, Like he's gonna get the ball more, so basically, like I feel like he's gonna have less efficient shots
It's gonna
in
be
a
less
different
efficient,
scenario.
yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So I feel
But
like
but
that's
if you look at
gonna
his
go down.
stats in OKC, they're pretty similar to maybe slightly less on the efficiency, but in terms of
Yeah.
points, rebounds, assists.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm
putting
saying.
up the same number of
I think
things
stat
in
wise he's
OKC.
like easily number 2, like no questions asked, and I think he's right there.
I think
But I just think that it's kind of like I don't know. I'm not placing a lot of effect on the Warriors situation because in my eyes he's always been number 2. But I'm just saying that there's that. You know what I
I
mean?
think it'd be really interesting to see him with like a pass first point guard because
Mhm.
he's been with Westbrook and Curry who are both shoot 1st,
Mhm.
right? Like they're great players, but they're shoot first players, and they want to get their own buckets. I think it'd be really interesting to see how efficient and how offensively gifted he could be with a pass first point guard.
Yeah. And maybe that should be like, you know, his recipe for where he
Yeah.
decides to go into
If he
the
wants
summer.
to shine,
Like I wouldn't say go with
ice it.
Kyrie then. Not that he's not pass first, but like he's got to get his,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
there's that.
Well, in terms of my opinion on this, I want to take it outside of the X's and O's quickly and mention that I think a lot of LeBron supporters, the reason that they placed him at the mantle of the greatest player right now and, you know, possibly the greatest player of all time is his ability to raise the level of his teammates' levels. That's what people point to. They always point to, you know, the Cleveland rosters that he took down Golden State with, the Cleveland roster he brought to the finals with. And at this moment right now, I don't think you can confidently say that's what LeBron's doing with this Lakers squad. Whether it's, you know, his lack of effort on the court, but more so the leadership or the lack of leadership he showed all season. And maybe at the beginning of the season, I thought he was doing a really great job, you know, fitting in the young guys, giving them confidence. But to me, the sign of a good leader is not only being able to, you know, push your teammates, but also being able to know and understand like each teammate's ability to handle criticism. That's what great coaches do. Like guys like Greg Popovich, Phil Jackson, like they had their ways, but at the end of the day, they were able to adapt to each player. And I don't think LeBron really realizes like these young guys, like putting himself in these shoes of these young guys, like guys like Kuzma, Ingram, Ball. They're definitely talented players, but I don't know if he's getting the most out of those guys right now. And that's the part that makes me question, is LeBron still the greatest? In terms of on-the-court talent and when push comes to shove, I think LeBron, you know, when he's really going to be faced with adversity, I still think he has the ability to rise above, like at a level that no other player can get to. But in terms of his leadership abilities, I'm really starting to question that. And that was, you know, a thing that people pointed to a lot about LeBron's greatness. He's a great leader. He's a better leader than Kobe. He's a better leader than MJ. But, you know, this is, you know, maybe his biggest test of all, and I don't think he's passing that test right now.
I think even at the start of the year, like this whole LeBron Lakers move has always been like, here's LeBron and here are the Lakers. Like LeBron plays for the Lakers, but he's not a Laker. You know what I mean? It's been such a segmented thing, and this injury is only further that. And I think that it has been kind of eating away at this mentality of how big of a teammate he is. And you'd think that common LeBron, if you look over LeBron's career, you'd think that he'd be putting a shield over these young players and taking everything and just being like, it's my fault, I'm coming off, I'm not playing well. You'd think based off the body of work that that's the reaction you'd have. You wouldn't think that he'd just be pointing fingers consistently, even when his play isn't showing it. So I hope he amalgamates himself into the Lakers and embraces it. He's going to be there for 3 more years. But, I mean, it doesn't look too promising. And the season so far has been very disappointing.
You could honestly argue that he's just waiting to get another superstar too.
You
and
could.
he doesn't really care about these young guys.
You could. I mean,
That's how I feel. I think he's just waiting for next year, to be completely honest. Obviously, he would still like to make the playoffs this year, to not tarnish his legacy. But I think people are putting too much emphasis into LeBron should take care of these young guys because they're the future of the Lakers. Whereas in LeBron's mind, he was ready to ship them all off. So I think he doesn't really care about them as much as the fans think that he should care about them.
But my thing is, I get that mentality, but the image of LeBron on the court saying, you know, like the brotherhood, this team's the brotherhood, pick your brothers up when you're down,
fake.
you know, like that just rings so hollow to me when I know his true mentality. And things like that LeBron's done this season, it just makes it so hard for me to root for the guy.
The thing I would say though is that I think also if you look at Cleveland versus this team, one thing to note is that you're looking at a very different age pool in terms of the people he's calling out. So, you know, Kevin Love, J.R. Smith, et cetera, they get called out, they're going to absorb that and then play a better game. I think the young guys are kind of like getting this first sort of the whole LeBron effect that Katie was talking about when he comes to your team and whatever, but they don't really know what it's like to have someone on their team directly call them out who's, eons above them in terms of his status and stature. So I think that's been the big difference is they don't really know how to respond. Is it like, okay, LeBron's like your big brother. It's like he's mad at you, so what do I do?
Yeah.
They're nervous almost. It's like I don't feel like they're using that as a way to propel themselves. But when you talk about, JR, Kevin Love, even Shumpert, when he would call these guys out, they kind of have they're vets, but they had a line to sort of be like, okay, now you crossed the line, like I got to show up now.
Yeah.
I think it's been a very different dynamic. So I think leadership is one thing in itself, and I do agree with you, Scotty. It's remarkable how he's been able to be a leader in all these different situations, but I think that we're talking about two very different casts in terms of their reception to what's going on, and he's been doing the same.
I agree.
Everything's changed, but the group is very different.
I agree. Like personnel, like this would be the last point before we can move on. But I agree that the personnel is different. But like if we really break down what's been going on, like LeBron criticizing his teammates about being able to play through distractions without acknowledging the fact that he's the one who causes distraction in the first place. And then two, to be the one on the court not giving the effort while his other teammates they're going to look to LeBron on the court, look to him as the leader. And to see him give 0% effort on defense, that's not inspiring. So I understand personnel is definitely different, but in the Cleveland days, that wasn't who LeBron was. LeBron would say all that and then go on the court, drop 45, 10, and then lock up. Yeah. Like he lead that team to victory. And this season, maybe not this season, this stretch, I haven't really seen that from LeBron. And it makes it so hard for me to defend the guy now.
Yeah, exactly. That's fair. I think what I would say to that is just the only sort of thing that's, I guess, in my own personal mind that's hinging against that is what Matt's saying about, this year. Even we even said from the start, we'll see if this year is kind of like all right, I'm here, let me set up shop, and then, next year let's get to work. So I'm not saying that's the way you should approach it. I think that with the way the season's gone, he got hurt when they were kind of on the
cusp. You don't think he's trying to make the playoffs?
I'm not saying that he's not trying to, but I'm saying that if you look at Christmas time when they beat the Warriors, and was like, all right, the Lakers are here. Then he got hurt, and then it was like, okay, now from Christmas to now, we've been in this stretch, right, of we don't know what's going on. So, I mean, if you look at being in 8th, you say, okay, we can make something happen. But being in 10th with, I don't know, less than 20 games to go or so, he's probably like, okay, I don't know where we're at. And maybe him and the young guys aren't the mesh that they need, that
just
we thought.
Really quick, do you guys think that them missing the playoffs, do you think this narrative will spring out that he can't win in the West and all this stuff in the
100%.
East?
100%. People love to jump on.
I think that is the biggest thing he's trying to go against. But do you think that is in the front of his mind right now, trying to protect his legacy by making the playoffs?
Yeah, I think it is 100%. It's not like he's not trying to, but also at the same time, he might, I just feel like something inside of me is saying, he's getting all right, whatever, I'm just going to soak all the noise all summer, and then September, let's get to work. So I don't know. There's that possibility. Obviously, they're trying to, make it in now and make something happen because, like me and Scotty said, we thought they were going to be 4th, 5th in the West, and they're not.
Yeah.
But I still think they could make a little bit of noise at least against Golden State in that first round, but it's just tough because it's hard to know. It's hard to know because the NBA is going to be so different come next October that it's hard for me to say. I don't even know what his. It's he's trying, but I think that he's very easily to be like, you know what, I'll step aside this year. So I don't know.
Yeah.